there are two ways to do open source. One is you maintain the code yourself as a company funded project, or you put that code in a neutral foundation where a lot of companies are sharing their resources, so the sustainability is a bit.
Single company open source is, which some people would say isn't open source at all, but that seems to be a more workable model. I mean, you talked about NPM. I would look at Rancher, which just announced a major round of funding, $40 million, and HashiCorp did a huge round, $157 million on a multi-billion-dollar valuation. And those are single, Rancher, while it's part of Kubernetes, also has a lot of components that they maintain themselves as single vendor open source. And so, these are places where those are really commercial models. Those companies control their source code. There is a gate. There is a reason why people want to monetize and hire the companies to get access to the code. And that model seems to be working. I really wonder if COVID-19 had really hit, a month ago, if we would have seen those funding rounds announced and closed, because it's the expectation is that a downturn like this pulls back a whole bunch of term sheets and actions and things like that. I've seen some Twitter threads about exactly that. And you might say, wow, who cares about the venture market? Who cares about these fundings? But that is how these projects are built. They're funded by investors for the most part until they reach some type of mainstream capability.
So you think that the company-backed open source projects are more sustainable than the foundation owned?
I think that the company-backed open source ones have clear commercial models and sustaining models. And so that when you want to pay money to sustain the project that you want, yes, I do think that those are more sustaining models. I mean, if you look at what, even in Kubernetes, which is a foundation maintained open source project, Red Hat has a variant of it called OpenShift that is, Kubernetes, but not Kubernetes. You don't get Kubernetes from Red Hat, you get OpenShift. And the same thing is true for Google, with what they're doing in the Anthos for VMware and their big announcements around vSphere and Pacific and Tanzu. Those are vendor products, and so those are being maintained and supported because of the vendors. How that flows back into a straight out Kubernetes product isn't clear, and then the whole ecosystem around Kubernetes with all the sub projects. Where there are some startups that are trying to sustain those, it's not clear yet that those are real models that they can work with. And I could give examples from OpenStack too, if you want. SwiftStack just got purchased, which was basically the primary company maintaining Swift out of OpenStack. So yeah, these single vendor open source seems to be a sustainable model, although I know there's a lot of people in the open source communities who don't feel like that's actually open source.